Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the Daily Crypto Forecast. And today I'm going to be doing Bitcoin, BTC, Ethereum, and EOS. And before I start, I'm going to be running a poll this time on Telegram, not on Twitter, asking you guys what chart would you like to see on a Monday, apart from BTC. And you guys can choose between Dogecoin and XRP. So the winner I will be doing on Monday along with BTC. And with this said, let's just jump straight into the charts. So I have here the Bitcoin weekly for the longer term view. And we are having a second retest of the 200-week moving average. So, I mean, today is Friday already. So we are at the end of the week. There's only two days left for the current candle to close, and it's not looking good. So it's less probable now that this candle will close as a bullish candle. If it was Monday, or even in the middle of the week, I'd say, okay, there's still plenty of time for this candle to retest the 200-week moving average and bounce and finish as a bullish candle. And if it closes as a bullish candle, then, it's more likely that next week we're going to start recovering and bouncing up here. But, being Friday already and this candle being so bearish is less likely now that this candle will close as a bullish candle. And if it closes as a bearish candle, it means it's less probable that we're going to be bouncing here next week. So if it closes as a bearish candle like it is right now or somewhere close, it's more likely we're just going to stay here, hanging at this level for some time, not bouncing. On the daily candles, as I have been saying since the beginning of this week, we are being pushed down by the 20-day moving average. The price didn't even bounce to touch it, but you can see it's already getting pressure and being pushed, by the 20-day moving average. So, expect lower lows here at some point unless this 200-week moving average actually bounces the price, as I was saying in the previous time frame, unless the 200-week moving average will actually, make a double bottom and actually start bouncing the price and closing as a bullish candle by the end of the week in 2 days, which is not that likely. Unless that happens, then I would expect either lower lows or just stay here, as I said, have the 200-week moving average, just holding the price in there. And going sideways for a little longer. Looking at the 4-hour candles now, yesterday we were looking at this pattern. I said it could be a potential head and shoulder pattern or simply a continuation pattern here. We did break below the neckline if this is a head and shoulder. However, the volume is not impressive. We're not seeing a decisive, breakout. So remember, we are just at the level of the 200-week moving average, which is very, very, very strong support, which is here, this blue line here at 3,166 more or less. So, it doesn't look to me it wants to break down, to complete this head and shoulder. Unless this now goes down decisively and we see volume increasing from here, I'd say we continue sideways and, have this 200-week moving average holding the price right there. Now, if it does break decisively, by the time I finish this video, maybe tomorrow or during the weekend, then if it does break decisively and with volume, then the target is down here, just below $3,000, 2,900 more or less. And that's the level of the 50-month moving average, which is a very, very strong moving average as well. If the price breaks below 3,000, things could accelerate in the downside because it's a very psychological number and it's a level that everybody's watching. So it could accelerate in the downside if we break below 3,000. However, I don't think it's going to break below 3,000 that easily, having in consideration that we have right there the 200-week moving average and the 50-month moving average, which are very, very, very major moving averages. I just don't think we're gonna just free fall below 3,000 that easily. I just don't see it happening. These moving averages are very strong. I would expect them to bounce the price or at least hold the price right there. I don't think it's gonna go down that easily below 3,000, significantly. Moving into Ethereum versus the dollar, these are the weekly candles. Last time I did an update on Ethereum was around 2 weeks ago, more or less. The video is on YouTube. Remember guys, I showed this exact chart. I did this chart actually when we broke below this area of the Nile here, when we were breaking down here. I draw this chart, I share this chart with the premium members, and since then, you know, I gave the targets, the first target at 100 and the second target at 55, you know, somewhere between 50 and 60. This has been playing out perfectly since then. So, you know, that's why I don't update sometimes that often in coins, because I do the long-term view, and so long as things are playing out the way I explained the last time, there's no reason for me to, you know, to continue to update every day. So guys, it's important that you draw the lines in your own chart, so you don't have to be wondering what's going to happen next, or, you know, asking me if there's any updates. My first target at 100 was respected, and we had a bounce here, and the price been holding there, and now it broke below. So the next target is still in play at around 55. So yeah, the target is there. There's not much more you can see in these bigger time frames. There's not really, you know, levels of support that I can draw here. Maybe if we go into smaller time frames, we'll be able to see something more. But for this big time frame, the obvious target is 55, you know, between 50 and $60. It might take some time to get there, especially if Bitcoin gets stuck there at the 200-week moving average. But, you know, eventually I still expect this target to be made. Daily candles for Ethereum, basically like the rest of the market, guys, the downtrend is strong and the price is being pushed by the 20-day moving average. So expect lower prices. You know, as I said, the target at $50-$60 is still in play. It might take some time to get there, as I said, especially if Bitcoin gets stuck there at the 200-week moving average. But, you know, in general, this is going down. There's not really any pattern that I can get from here. My only target is for now between $50 and $60. Moving on to the 4 hours for Ethereum, and here we can see a little bit more of a pattern, just like for all the other coins and even Bitcoin. It's like a continuation type pattern. It could be a potential head and shoulder if it breaks below the neckline. So if this pattern actually breaks and breaks with volume, you know, with a decisive move, then let's get the targets from the, you know, from when it breaks the previous low, and the target is at around $71.50. So this is for the most immediate short term, only if this pattern actually breaks with volume, because if it breaks the previous low but you don't see any significant volume, it means it's still forming a continuation pattern, and it could go sideways for longer, you know, for longer time. And, you know, in that case I would, you know, I will update next time. But for now, yeah, if this pattern actually breaks with volume, 71.5 is the target for the most immediate short term. If not, expect more sideways for now. Although it's actually, I see the 20 and the 50 period moving average here being right at the price, so it'll, you know, it's likely we'll see continuation and the price being pushed down. So actually, yeah, maybe the probability is actually quite high that we go and make the target here at $71.50 sometime soon, maybe during this weekend or beginning of next week. Yeah, that's what I have. Moving on to the EOS versus the US dollar. These are the weekly candles, and this is super extended in the downside, more so than other coins. So when this bounces, it's going to bounce hard. That's just how markets work. It'll bounce, you know, there's a high chance when it bounces, it'll bounce and snap back up to the 20-week moving average here. Maybe, you know, around $4, maybe not as high, but somewhere between, you know, maybe $3, something like that. I'm not sure yet. We will have to wait and see if it actually bounces and see how strong it looks. But it's very extended, and, you know, markets bounce when they are very extended. They have to bounce. Even if the general trend is down, it'll have to bounce and do some type of short-term recovery. As for targets, I don't have any in this time frame, not in the upside, not in the downside, especially not in the downside, because yeah, you cannot see any significant levels of support in this time frame. So let's move into the daily candles and see. On the daily candles, from here we can see levels of support below us, which you can get from the past here. And so these are significant level at around $1.60. From here it held and it bounced the price, so that was one obvious level of support from the past. If this one breaks, the next obvious level is going to be down here at around 1.2, which comes from here. It was touched one time very significantly, and it was support here several times, so this is a very significant level of support. So if the price gets there, expect a bounce there, expect a reaction. And then if in the future it breaks down this level, then the next one down is at 0.87, which is from this peak here and this peak here and this support here. It was touched 3 or 4 times very significantly. So expect, if the price goes that low, expect a reaction, and a bounce from there. So, in short here, all you can do is draw your levels of significant support below you, and when it's approaching one of the levels, expect a bounce in that level. And if in the future it's broken in the downside, then expect the price to eventually go and touch the next level, and so on. And you continue to assume continuation until we hit bottom and we have a reversal. But until we don't have proof of that, it's always better to assume continuation and get the levels of support. So guys, please draw these lines on your own chart, so again, you don't have to be wondering where the price is going next and and asking me all the time for updates. You just draw these lines from here, and so long as these lines are respected, then you know what you have to do, assume continuation. However, as I said, we are super extended in the downside, so I would expect at some point, if it's not in this one at 1.6, maybe in the next one at 1.2, and at some level I expect a huge bounce and a short-term recovery. I mean, for crypto in general, we're too extended. Moving on to the 4 hours for the shorter term, and yeah, just similar with the rest of the coins, we're doing a continuation type pattern here. So, as I see it, it seems it wants to come back down to retest the previous low at some point and probably bounce from here again and just go sideways and and mess around here until we have a decisive move. For now, yeah, this is a continuation pattern. We are also at the 20 and 50 period moving averages, so it's likely this will push the price back down. So if I was playing the very short term trading here, I would try to enter for a short position here down to the previous low at around 1.6. So I would try to enter a short here and use a stop loss right above this previous significant high, which is right above $2. That's what I would do for the shorter term. And yeah, and I would for sure be taking profit at the previous low at 1.5, 1.6, and then take it from there. That was all for today's forecast, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support that I'm receiving lately. And yeah, I wish you all a great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you all on Monday right here. Bye.